Hi, you're listening to This Is Not Your Practice Life. I'm your host, Macy Renee, and we are going on a journey together, my friends. I'm a certified life and emotional intelligence coach. And if you really want to step into your highest self, there are a few non-negotiables you're going to have to learn, and I am just the person to help you do it. No matter your past, I'm here to help you create a more fulfilling future. So stick around with me. Not only will I teach you how to navigate your brain's daily mind drama, but I'll help you actually understand your mind, your emotions, why you do the things you do, and why others do the things they do. Most importantly, I'll help you build the self-awareness skills to create whatever results you want. It's never too late to change the trajectory of your life. After all, this is not your practice life. Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to another episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. I'm Macy Renee, and I am so thrilled to have you joining me this morning from wherever it is that you are. Welcome to all the new listeners. Welcome to all my returning listeners. And a really quick breakdown if you're brand new and you're listening to some of the later episodes and you find that you're confused or it feels like a lot to take in, just know that if you go in order, go all the way back to number 1. A lot of my teachings have built upon each other, so you will build a very strong foundation if you start at the beginning and work your way up. Of course, that's not necessary, but if you plan to stick around and be here with us for a little bit, it will help make everything come together for you more and more. All right, you guys, so the topic today is when people don't believe in you, here's what to do. I think that this is a very important topic to address because when we have goals, dreams, aspirations, qualities we want to develop, a lot of times we're really excited about it and we can really shut down when the people that we want that validation or approval from don't give it to us. Okay, when you expect to be supported by the people that you love and trust the most, and maybe you don't get it. So I can remember back in the day whenever I was in relationship marketing and I started this business, right? It wasn't my best friends or my closest friends or family that was supporting me. It was absolute acquaintances or strangers. And I remember being very shell-shocked about that in the beginning, even though I was forewarned, because I think whenever you're excited about something, the brain automatically assumes like you're going to have the support of everybody that knows and loves you. And that is not always the case. The issue with that is whenever you let that stop you from your goals, from your dreams, your aspirations, your vision, whatever it is that you want to attain in your life, right? Whatever it is that you want to go after in your life. So I want to share my perspective on this, some coaching on this, so that whenever it is, whatever it is that you're going for in your life, if you don't have people that believe in you or support you, you know that you can keep moving forward. And this is a practice, it's a skill set, because ultimately what it comes down to is you have to be able to emotionally create safety in your body and have your own back. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. You have to create the skill of emotionally having your own back and trusting yourself deeply to do the thing you want to do, regardless of whether people approve of it, accept it, understand it, support it, or believe in it like you do. Because if you need other people's validation, their approval, their, opinions on what it is you're doing, and their belief system differs from your belief system, if you haven't built that strong skill of emotionally having your own back, and your belief isn't really strong in what you want to do without their approval, you will likely go away from what you really want. You will stray is the word I'm looking for. You will stray from your original intent. And that's a really sad thing, because whatever you've been called to do, or whatever dream or vision or aspiration has been placed on your heart or your soul, has been placed there for a reason. Because it's something that you're meant to do, whether it's the forever thing you'll end up doing, or it's a stepping stone to get you to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing that you're actually meant to do, or who you're meant to become. And we really interrupt this amazing peace within ourselves when we need someone else to tell us that they believe in us. We have to learn how to curate that for ourselves. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. It's going to be by asking yourself questions. You might even journal on some of these questions if this is something you struggle with. So whatever it is that you want, I want you to start with, do I believe in me and this thing I want, or this quality I wish to have? Okay, for me, a big thing that I really had to practice believing in was whenever I decided, one, to even do this podcast, but two, to ultimately become a life coach. And especially when I decided to become a full-time life coach, walk away from my former pediatric occupational therapy career and move to Las Vegas with my husband so he could quit his 10-year-long career and get into something brand new of real estate, right? There had to be so much belief within me that we were going to be okay, that I was going to make sure it was okay. And had I needed anyone's approval or validation, I likely wouldn't have got it because a lot of people didn't want us to make such big, bold moves and big, bold decisions, not because they're unsupportive, but because it created discomfort within them. And it would have been easier for us to do the safe thing so that they felt emotionally safe, knowing that we would be what they thought was emotionally safe. Okay, so sometimes the reason that you're not getting someone's support or validation is simply because they don't have the capacity or the space emotionally for it. They anticipate that you're going to experience pain going after what you want. They experience that if you are in pain, they're going to experience pain watching it all happen. And our brain is really good at creating safety or trying to create safety. And the way that it does that is by not changing a thing. And so sometimes the reasons why people, it seems, maybe don't believe in us is because their brain is like, well, you've not done that before. You have no evidence of it. It seems dangerous. It's very unpredictable. Why would you do that? That's not who you've been. It's not who you are, right? It has all of these limiting beliefs and stories that if you, again, have not created belief within yourself, someone can easily sway you from the life that you desire. So building your belief first is most important. Do I believe in myself? Now that's a yes or no question. So then I would ask why or why not? Why do you believe in yourself or why do you not believe in yourself? Okay. The next thing is, am I seeking approval, validation, or confirmation of belief from someone else? If the answer is yes, why? And if the answer is no, why not? Right? And just really clearing out your thoughts of why or why not that might be of importance to your subconscious brain. Now, if you answered yes, I am seeking that, I want you to ask yourself, why do I need it? Why do I need that from them? Like, what do I think I'm going to get if they agree with me? If they believe in me? What will I get? Okay? And this question is really going to help you see what you are emotionally longing for, what you really want to feel, and what you really want to believe about yourself. And so that leads me to the next question is, what would you get to believe about yourself if they validated you, believed in you, or supported what you want? What would you get to believe about yourself? Okay, so this is where your brain thinks it needs to hear something specific from your mom, from your dad, from your partner, from your kids, from your coworker, from your boss, in order to confirm something you're trying to believe about yourself, but maybe don't fully believe yet. Okay, now here's the important steps past this kind of journal prompt exercise is knowing that your job is to learn how to believe and validate yourself. I know that's easier said than done. I work with a lot of clients where we're working on this and building their self-confidence and self-concept. And it's a challenge, right? Because a lot of times we emotionally want to feel a certain way, and we want it to be from the people we love and trust most. They're not always capable of holding that space for us and being able to give it to us, but a lot of times that's what we want. And so at the end of the day, whether you get it or you don't, you want to know that the most important work that you will do is learn how to believe and validate yourself. And I'm going to give you a real life example of this, of when I started early on in my journey and how I see this pop up for people who I know want something different. But we'll get to that in a second. The second thing that you need to do is make sure you do things that challenge you to grow. Whether you have someone's support or validation or approval or not, in what ways can you have your own back, challenge yourself, and grow and prove to yourself, right, that you are building belief, that you are developing the very skills that you want to develop. The more you do the uncomfortable thing that you know will set you forward, the better, okay? And the last thing is make sure you get yourself in rooms that are going to be supportive of the person you're trying to be or the goals you're trying to reach. Because in our world, especially if you're doing a lot of introspection and inner work and, just big thinking, not everybody in the world is doing those same things. A lot of people unintentionally don't realize it, but they tend to be glass half empty, negative thinkers. Okay, maybe you even feel like a negative thinker right now. And if you don't want to be that way, or you don't want to share your amazing aspirations, beliefs, goals, visions, dreams with people of that nature, you need to plug yourself up into supportive spaces where people do want to believe in you and do want you to win. And not because you need it, right? Not because you are incapable of having your vision or dream without it. Because again, when you have worked on the skill of learning how to validate yourself and believe in yourself, you won't need that from anybody. But getting in rooms where people are also doing similar work or have the capacity to hold that space for you can be very, very, very helpful, especially if you're not getting what you want from the people that you love and thought would support you most, okay, or believe in you most. So to give you an example of this early on, of why it's so important to have your own back. I have so many examples of this, but I'll give you maybe one or two. So one of the earliest examples I can give you is when I decided, I started out college as a pre-nursing major. Shout out to all of the nurses. I couldn't do it. I cried every day as a pre-nursing major, like anticipating what my life would be because I can't handle, I cannot stomach a lot of the stuff, okay? That's the easiest way to put it. I just don't have a great stomach for it, which is kind of hilarious because I ended up becoming a pediatric occupational therapist in the health field, and so I saw a lot there too. But there was something about nursing where I was just like, I just can't. So all of the respect and all the love to you all. I know what you do is very, very stressful. So anyways, when I was a pre-nursing major, crying my eyes out every day for a full semester, I eventually got to the point where I had looked into occupational therapy decided, like, I think I would love to work in pediatric OT, and decided to tell my family that I was going to quit college, which meant that I was giving up a 4-year full ride scholarship that I had received from my GPA in high school. I was going to give it all up. I was going to go into debt, possibly $100,000 worth of debt, and move back home to go to a smaller private college and pursue my dream of becoming a pediatric occupational therapist. When I tell you it's important to believe in yourself first and have your own back, the reason I'm telling you this is because when I went home and I shared this with my family, expecting that they would want to support my happiness and whatever was keeping me from jumping off a bridge, because that's kind of how I felt in my first semester of college. I was very, very depressed, had a lot of heavy circumstances. And while I wasn't actually suicidal ideations were definitely present. And I just was having a really, really hard time keeping my head above water. So I expected that my family would be very much supportive of what I wanted to do. And I did have a family member who was, or two that were, but also some people that I loved most, right? And wanted their support more than anything, I was criticized by. Criticized for not thinking it through, criticized because they didn't even know what occupational therapy was, which anybody who's an occupational therapist will laugh because OTs get called PTs all the time. Like, we really aren't given the recognition we deserve, because a lot of people don't know what OT is or what an OT does unless they have experienced it. Otherwise, the rest of the world is like, oh, you're a PT, you're going to help me exercise. And OT is much more diverse than that. But anyways, I digress. So my family didn't know what it was. So that was another reason why they thought, like, you are making such a stupid decision. You're giving up free college to go into almost $100,000 of debt. Why would you do that? And all of this to say is that their reaction to my decision could have easily swayed my decision, because I love them and I want them comfortable and I want their approval and I want their love. And in those moments, if I didn't have my own back, it could have felt very real that they didn't love me the way that I thought, right? Or didn't support me or believe in me. And I could have taken that very personal. In fact, I think I probably did, right? Until I worked through it in coaching years later, of, wanting them to approve of my decisions. But at the end of the day, even though they didn't, the most important thing that moved me forward is I believed in myself. I had done the work on myself. So although I was getting what felt like nonstop criticism, it didn't sway my decision. It didn't keep me from going after it. And they ended up being extremely proud after I was done and saw all of the work that it took to get there. And, were able to celebrate me. But first, I had to have my own back. I had to know why I was doing it, okay? And sometimes when you're in that place, other people won't understand, and that's okay as long as you understand. Which leads me to the second situation that I can think of like this, which was in 2016 when I hired my first coach. I had never spent money on myself the way that I had when I invested in a coach, okay? And also, I didn't even know what a coach really was or what they did. And so when I did my consult call with my coach, I was flabbergasted at, the pricing. I was broke, barely out of college. I was 24 years old. I didn't have a savings. I struggled with negative bank accounts more often than I would like to admit. Like, it was very, very challenging. So responsibly, if we were going to look at it, quote unquote, financially responsible, I didn't have the money to spend on it. But I have always thought and heard the quote as well, whatever reason you can't afford to do it is the very reason you need to do it. So I'll repeat that again, because that was very powerful for me years ago, and maybe it'll land with you. Whatever the reason you give for not being able to do with it, especially financial, right, is the very reason you need to do it. And that really resonated with me then. It was like, I'm miserable. I don't even know how I'm going to move forward. I can't afford not to. Like, it will cost me more in the long run to stay in this depression, anxious cycle than it would to feel very uncomfortable and really tight with money for a while, but learn skills that I trust are going to help me move forward. Okay, so that was my thought process with my coach, knowing that when I committed to the payments, I was likely going to struggle financially. Now, not everybody will be in that situation. Not everybody has to be in that situation. Your journey doesn't have to look like mine. But I say this because I really was in a place where I'm like, things have to change for me. I can't afford for them not to. So I can't afford the coaching, but I can't afford not to pay her because I refuse to live this way another year or 2 or 5 years. It's miserable. So I will figure it out and I will make it happen. So I had decided, and I really believed in myself, and I really trusted my decision, and I really believed in the vision of where I was going. And guess what? In the beginning, I didn't have the support of the people I loved most. My husband and I, I think we were just we weren't even engaged yet whenever I started working with my coach. We argued all the time, because we were struggling to pay bills, and I would pay coaching over the bills. And I would be like, I will pay you the bill, but it will be like 3 days late because my paycheck sucked, right? And so we would argue a lot. Now, whether you agree with that or not, I totally understand. But for me, it was like, I have to do this because if I don't learn how to change this, we're always going to be arguing about this because I don't know how to change this situation myself. So I need some other eyes and ears looking at the problem to figure out how to get me out of this. I had to believe in myself so deeply and why I was even investing because my, husband didn't understand at the time. He didn't know what coaching was either. He was like, you're talking to this person every week that I don't even know. What are you even learning? What are you even doing? Do they know that, our finances don't look good? Like, is this even responsible? Like, there was a lot of critique around it. And the same with family. Family was like, well, why would you spend your money on that? Or that just seems pointless or blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes even friends, right? Where they were like, you're changing a lot. What are you doing? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's all this, happy stuff you're learning or positive stuff you're learning? All of that to say, that could have easily swayed me away from the work that I was doing on myself. If I would have needed them to believe in it in order to stick with it. What was so pivotal for my life was deciding ahead of time, I believe in it whether you see it or not. I believe it whether you like it or not. I will figure out a way to do it whether it seems possible or not. I believe in where it's taking me. I believe in where I'm going. I don't need you to also believe it. I can emotionally have my own back. I can emotionally trust myself. And even though I also have hard days with it, at the end of the day, I know and believe that this is moving me forward in a direction we'll be thankful for later. So we can argue about it and we can fight about it and you can be unsupportive about it and critique all of it. And at the end of the day, I'm still going to choose to do it, not because I'm being disrespectful to you, but because I truly believe in what it's going to do for me. And I can tell you that years later, I think all of those people that once didn't necessarily believe in it or feel supportive of it are very thankful that I did that, right? It has saved so many relationships for me. It has allowed me to communicate better. It has strengthened my emotional intelligence. It has improved my mindset. It's helped me create more money in my life, more freedom in my life, more self-empowerment, more confidence. Like, it has changed everything for me. But if I had been influenced by what they saw and what they believed, my outcome would have been very different. So in whatever it is that you visualize or want to do, you have to ask yourself, how do I have my own back? And the biggest thing I see, like for instance with coaching, or an investment that you want to make, even if it's not coaching. Like I can remember seeing this whenever I had started my relationship marketing business, and I would talk to people who also wanted to do it. So often what people would say is, I can't do that. I have to talk to so-and-so. A lot of times it was like, I've got to talk to my husband about it, or I've got to, consult my boyfriend or my wife or my, my parents. I'm still living with my parents. I've got to consult someone else in this decision. And what oftentimes would happen in those scenarios is they would go approach this person that they loved, right, with something they really wanted, but they had not yet built the belief of why it was important to them to do it. So when the other person hears what you want to do, but they don't have the vision, they don't understand why, they don't have the same experience, they didn't hear the same things that you heard about what it was going to help with, right? Whatever the investment is, whether it's real estate or whatever. Like if they don't have any experience with it, their brain is going to resort to what is considered the safest response. Okay? And not everybody is able to hear something and immediately be able to support your decision. Some people hear it and they immediately think danger. They go into fight or flight response, right? And anticipate all of the bad things that would happen. And if you haven't built belief and you're like, I don't know why I need to do it. I just thought it would be fun. I kind of wanted to do it. I thought it would be helpful, but I don't know. Maybe you're right. If you don't have solid belief and they can't sense your solid belief, then that adds the evidence to their brain of like, absolutely not. You don't even know why you want it. You wouldn't even show up and do it. Why would I support it? Why would I help you pay for it? Why would I, back you on it? Like you don't even know your reasons. And that's what would happen so often, is that people had not built the belief in themselves and the validation within themselves. And then they're seeking it from someone else who doesn't have that same vision or belief in them, right? Or think it's going to work, whatever it is. Or whatever they're wanting, they don't believe that it's also possible. And so then you're going and asking for that, and they're not capable of giving it to you. So then you let that talk you out of your goals, your dreams, your visions, your path, the thing that you initially felt drawn towards. Okay? So that's just something to be mindful of, is when seeking validation, seeking belief, seeking someone's justifications or opinions can sway you from what you really want. So at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, where do I have hell yeses in my life where I feel like this really feels good to me? Where do I have hell no's in my life where this doesn't feel good to me? And am I following that internal compass? And when I look to other people, am I able to hold my ground even if they have a different opinion? Right? It's one thing to listen to someone else's opinion and see their side, but also have your own back, versus hear someone's side and their opinion and be confused about what it is you thought that you wanted, because you're so codependent on the validation and, making sure that their response validates you for love, for attention, for reassurance, for safety, that kind of thing. Okay, there's a difference there. So just be mindful, ask yourself how you're showing up. And if you need any support with this, I am definitely here. You can schedule a free consult on MacyRenee.com. And if you want to work on these skills, it's a perfect opportunity to join the hybrid experience. So reach out if you have any questions about that. You can do so with a payment plan through January 31st that will allow you to pay in 4 payments. You get group coaching, one-on-one coaching, and a luxurious retreat with me and all of your peers in person in 30A in Florida. It's going to be fabulous. But outside of that, if you want to join, you have and pay in full, you have all the way till March 31st, or until the spots sell out, since there are a limited amount of spots due to the retreat. Okay. So if you have questions about that or any other offers that I have, like one-on-one coaching or the Equip Society Lifetime Access Group, you can reach out. I will help you. We can figure out the best fit for you based on where you're at in your life, and we'll go from there. So I hope you all have an amazing day, and I will see you again next week. Bye. Hey there. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of This Is Not Your Practice Life podcast. If you'd like to connect on social media, you can find me on both Instagram and Facebook at Macy Renee Coaching. And if you want to stay up to date on all of my offers, announcements, and inspirational emails, you can join my email list at macyrenee.com. In addition, if there's a way that I can further support you in your coaching journey, you can schedule a free 60-minute consult at macyrenee.com anytime you want so we can discuss the best options for you. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have an amazing day.